When my wife and I first got married and moved to our new city, started our first adult jobs, the one thing that we committed to, and I'm super glad that we committed to it, was starting a budget together. We wanted to aggregate our incomes. We were going to track it in this ugly Excel document that I had made while being a substitute teacher at random high schools during COVID, just a side job that I picked up through college. But I had made this sheet and I felt very passionate about, hey, I want to take control of my finances. You hear all these horror stories of people going into horrible credit card debt, student loans, car payments, and it just cripples them for the rest of their lives. We were super avoidant of that. We were like hot and heavy on how we're going to budget our money. Well, the first year, budgeting took a little bit of time to get used to it, but it was great. We had freedom buying the things that we wanted to buy because we knew we were saving for them. We were making those small incremental steps to see our wealth grow. It was great. It was a little bit of work, but we were seeing the benefits from it. Year two comes along. We're like, we are cruising with how a budget should operate. We get a little cocky. I know it's easy to start feeling like, hey, I'm in control. In reality, we were only a year in. So hindsight's 2020. We can see that now. We got cocky and we said, hey, listen, we're good with this budget thing. We don't need to spend the time and effort. We know how much money we should be spending a month. We know what it looks like now. Let's go with no budget. That lasted all of 3 months. And we quickly realized, yeah, this is so hard. You would find yourself not having to track little add-ons you were going. Walking through the checkout line at the grocery store, sure, I'll grab a soda. Going to the gas station, sure, I'll walk inside and grab a snack. Driving home past Chick-fil-A. But then there were things where like we had money set apart, but we weren't pulling the trigger because we didn't know that we actually had the money available to go do something fun like date night or go to a basketball game or a soccer game or go do something out together. Those big ticket items were scary now because we didn't have the assurance that a budget provided. We quickly realized, hey, our budget was actually allowing us to spend more money well while under the guise of saving money. Those are some of the things that we took away from our journey. And because of that, I want to share with you guys three key takeaways that we have on how to create and maintain a successful budget and feeling more freedom to spend while you're saving. Before we hop into the three things, there's one thing that I want to share. There's so much out there on how to game credit cards, how to grow your wealth. You get your first 100K, how to turn your 100K into a million. What I've realized that a lot of people just want some help understanding and feeling like they have control of their finances. Like there's so many get rich fast, take this course. I just want to have people feel like they own their finances, like they can be successful on their personal financial journey. The wealth will come down the road. There are ways that we can supplement our own personal financial strengths with credit cards, high yield savings account, other stuff like that. I'm sure we'll get into it. But I want to provide you guys with the foundation, the most important part to where whenever you go explore into credit cards or different types of investments, you feel confident in that your base is rock solid and that we can walk through that journey together. So, if you found this video, I hope that is you and you're looking to grow in that way. And let's go along with it together. I think it'll be a fun journey. But let's jump now into the three keys that we want to prioritize and that I learned in building my budget. So the first thing that I do, and it's a mindset shift. So much of budgeting is behavioral psychology. It's taking a different approach to the money. Like every month, there's a certain amount of money. Hopefully, if you're salaried, if you're hourly, maybe it fluctuates a little bit, but there's a certain amount of money coming into your bank account. How you treat it is where the behavioral psychology piece starts to come in. The way that I approach budgeting is at the first of the month, I'm not seeing, oh my gosh, I can only spend $50 for the rest of the month on eating out. I see as on day one of the month, I am committing to spend $50 on eating out. Now, how does that sound any different? Well, here's the difference that I want us to focus on. In the first example I gave of I can only spend $50, there's a hesitancy to hold on to those $50 throughout the month. And you're always going to be concerned on swiping that card at the store to get a Big Mac or a Happy Meal or something like that. What was super successful for my wife and I is just switching that thought process. And on day one of the month, whenever I write $50 on my budget, I've already spent that money. That money has been allocated at that point to eating out. So whenever I want to go eat out, it's like, well, it doesn't hurt as bad. I've already spent the money. That money has already been committed. So that's one thing that was super helpful to us is having that mindset switch of a budget is actually a commitment of spending and not a restriction on future spending. The second thing that I want us to hit on is understanding our income and seeing and taking accountability for the money that comes in. Sometimes you might hear, put that money in a different account to where you never see it. You know, you're never going to want to touch it. I call that concept invisible money, and I would love to make a video of that in the future. But for now, I kind of want to advise against that because we're setting up our budget. We want to understand and be proud of and take accountability for the money that we are earning. Like, I want us to write down, hey, I made $1,000 this month or $1,000 this paycheck. You can set aside and call out, hey, I'm saving this. I am actively making a decision to save this and not just sending it away where you can't see it. There will be a sense of pride that comes along with that. And to encourage yourself through the budgeting process, which can sometimes be hard, take those opportunities for little victories and really cherish them and hold strong to them. So the second one is acknowledging your income and being proud of that. The final thing that we're going to touch on, and this one might not come as a surprise, but it is the most helpful reminder when actually putting pen to paper on your budget, and that's identifying your needs versus wants. I know you've heard this a million times, but hear out how we approach this. So whenever you come up with your budget, you're going to stack your categories. Say you have 20 different categories that you spend things on every month: rent, insurance, utilities, fun money, eating out, however, whatever you want it to be. You then have to go back and identify what are my needs and what are my wants. There's a little category that floats in between those that's needs that are kind of conditional needs, and we'll touch on those too. So, our needs are the things that we can't live without, and no matter what we do, the price of them is not going to change. If you've got to drive to work every day and you're already in the most fuel efficient car possible, that's a need, and there's not much you can do about that. Gas is now a need for you. Another thing might be utilities. You got to keep the lights on, you got to keep the house warm. No matter what you do, there's going to be a bottom number that you just can't get below. And it's okay, acknowledge those. Everyone has needs that we're not going to be able to change. Just make sure you budget for those first. Let's jump to wants, because wants is obviously a little bit more self explanatory. Those are the things that we budget last. Those are the things that we look at the total number remaining on our budget and say, okay, how do I want to split it up? You'll quickly realize how much you prioritize some things over others. For us, we minimized the amount of money. We call it fun money. It's like her money without me questioning it, and I have my money without her questioning it. And we increased the fun money we share together to go on dates or go out and do fun things just because that was a priority to us. Now, those conditional needs that I talked about, let's speak to those for a second. Conditional needs are something like streaming services, phone plans, internet. Do I really need 1 gig internet? Probably not, but I kind of want it. These are the things that as you increase your income over the months and years to come, they are needs. You can only take them so low, but there's often flexibility in how we spend some of our money. How often am I upgrading my phone, and how does that impact my phone bill? Could I make decisions to save money every month in these conditional need spaces? Probably. They're kind of hard to quantify sometimes because it's easy to sneak in some of our own wants into these conditional needs. But just be aware of those. You're going to have to spend money on them every month, but how much you're spending might actually be in your control. So, those are the three things that I want to focus on. The first being switching the way that you view budgeting. Budgeting is a commitment to spend on day one and is not a restriction to spend until day 30. That mindset, I hope, helps you guys feel freedom in budgeting. The second being understanding and being proud of your income. Like, take responsibility, take pride in the work that you are doing to provide for yourself and for others. And give yourself credit on your budget. Make sure other people and yourself can see that number every month. The third is understanding the differences between needs, conditional needs, and wants, and how you approach those and prioritizing your budget and what it tells you about yourself. My goal through this whole YouTube endeavor, as long as it may be, is to walk along you all in your own personal financial journeys. I want to share for those of you who don't have a budget and are looking to get really engaged and in control of your finances. I have a budget template. I will link it in the description below to share with you. If you have questions or just want to get engaged with the community that I'm trying to build here, I will also link the Discord below. Would love to see you guys there. Would love to have some conversations and help you all grow in your own personal financial journey. My name's Kyle. It was a pleasure to meet you, and hopefully I'll be seeing y'all around soon. Have a good one.